When you combine the power of Qwen Image Edit with ControlNets, you unlock precise control over every aspect of your image generation. I'm going to show you exactly how to set this up in ComfyUI. This includes the specific settings I've tested across 50 plus generations to get consistent results. All right, so here I am in ComfyUI, and I'm just going to briefly go over the workflow, and then we'll get into some generations. So first up, you can see we have the load models group. So this is pretty standard. We have all the Qwen image edit models along with a ControlNet model. So this is the InstantX Qwen image ControlNet union. I'll put a link to this in the description, but you'll just want to put this into your ControlNet directory within ComfyUI. Next up, we have our upload group for images to be edited. So this is pretty standard. We can support up to 3 images here. And then after the images are uploaded, we'll pass them through to a prompt on what it is exactly that we want that output image to be. Now, once we set the prompt, then it goes through to the ControlNet. So the ControlNet can basically kind of guide the image generation process. It's a little bit more fine-tuned, if you will, than just simple prompting to get better and more controlled results. After it goes through the ControlNet, then it goes over to the K-sampler and then is basically processing that image as a empty latent image, and then we will have our final results. So let's go ahead and generate our first image using a ControlNet model along with Qwen Image Edit. All right, so let's bring in an image to edit here. So I'm going to bring in Sarah from the Cloud Brew Coffee Company, and I want to get her outside sitting in New York City. So basically I'm going to describe that into my prompt. So here you can see the prompt is a woman sitting on a wall in New York City. In the background are some trees. So here's what the image looks like. And as you can see, Sarah is now sitting outside in New York City holding a cup of coffee, and overall it's pretty good. However, though, it's not exactly what I had in mind. So here's where a ControlNet can really guide the process. So basically, I'm going to go down to this ControlNet group, and I'm going to change this out to a man that's sitting on a wall. Behind him are some clouds, and I'm going to use the depth anything model first, and then apply a ControlNet. So I have the strength of this ControlNet set to 1.5. I find that's kind of the sweet spot for depth models here. And up above here, I'm going to keep the same prompt and just kind of see how the ControlNet kind of alters this output. So let's queue off this prompt and see what we get. All right, so here is Sarah sitting on a wall. And as you can see, the wall angle is about the same as this depth map, which is really cool. And we can see it's the likeness of Sarah, though, and much more compositionally what I had in mind. So that's applying a ControlNet to a image in Qwen Image Edit. Now, let's change things up and take a look at a pose instead. So basically what I'm going to do is unbypass the DWPose estimator, and I'm going to take in a different image. I have a person jumping, and I want Sarah really excited about coffee. So I'm going to change this out in the Apply ControlNet, and I'm going to leave everything at the default values and just change out the prompt a little bit. So I'm going to have a woman jumping in New York City. In the background are some trees. Let's process this image and see what the results look like. So here we have Sarah now jumping in the middle of an intersection in New York City, but the pose is actually spot on from what we had as our reference image. Now in testing, I found that a apply ControlNet strength between 1.5 and 2 actually is a good sweet spot. So if you find that Qwen Image Edit is ignoring this pose, be sure to really crank up that strength. So that's it with combining ControlNets with Qwen Image Edit. Now, of course, if you have any questions or having a tough time with it, please drop a line in the comment section below. Again, a link to the workflow is also within the description of this video. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.